Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for stopping to smell the damn roses. And today we have Heather Duke.
How to smell the damn roses. I like that because when I looked up your blog, I was kept Googling smell the roses. And I'm like, oh, it smelled the damn roses.
Yes, smell the damn
That's
roses.
Perfect. And when we started doing this interview, there were all sorts of topics I thought of. And part of it was just the foreclosure. Because I think that was the beginning of a new life for me in a lot of ways. And, you know, for anyone who's actually in foreclosure right now, I would say the words of encouragement that just because I'm talking about it being life-changing doesn't mean it's not incredibly hard for you if you're in it. And I could describe my life actually at that time using a story that's actually from the Northwest coast where I was living. And that would be the story of Lady Louse, which was told to me by my friend Bill Cody, who got it told to him by a woman named Vi Hilbert, whose name was Taxa Blue, and in Lashute. And the story is short. It's only 10 lines in Lashute, and it goes like this. There once was a lady named Lady Louse. She lived in a very big house, and she had no friends or relatives. And so she swept that house. She swept, and there was lots of dirt, and she went to the center of the house, and in the center of the house she got lost. And she was lost and couldn't be found again. And so I think that story describes a lot of what was going on at that time. For me, I had hit my head in an ATV accident in 2006. And I lost a lot. And sometimes when you lose things, you don't even realize what you've lost. Other people might point it out to you, but you don't realize it. And that's one of the blessings and curses of a traumatic brain injury. And so a number of things happened. My marriage at the time, which was probably due to ended. I got into financial trouble because it was hard to support myself. I suddenly had a level of chronic pain and a level of memory loss that was so large that I couldn't manage it, and it was very bewildering to people around me. So I can't blame anybody for going, what the heck's going on there? I'm just going to stand back. And one of the things that really helped during that time was actually I got to the point of no return. Where I knew I was going to lose my house. There was a foreclosure crisis going on. There was an economic crisis going on. And I was just facing that. And a lot of the foreclosures in our area were going very slowly because 25% of the homes in our neighborhood were being foreclosed upon in Olympia, Washington. This is about 2007 and 8. And so I ended up knowing that I might have a year without having to pay a mortgage or rent. I might have 2 years. And so here I am bewildered, don't feel like I can work, not really getting support because social services are so overwhelmed. And so the thing to do then is to do things that are fun, that are uplifting, that will cheer you up. And so I really got into my art. And I was living in a very non-linear reality place. So I was singing a lot. I was making collages. I was making all sorts of weird stuff. I had what's called in conventional mental health as magical thinking, which is something I don't necessarily pathologize, but I do understand that when people get really lost in that, the consensus reality doesn't really know what to do with them. So I was making magical objects, and still am. I'll admit to it. Still doing that. And I was doing some performance, including puppets. I had a metal band. I was in dance projects. So there was 2 years where a lot of people were afraid of my life, in my family in particular, but a lot of people also saw what was coming out of this messy, dirty house of mine, where I'd hoarded many costumes. And a clown started to emerge. And I have this friend named Just Be the Clown, who's really wonderful. And he encouraged me to clown one day for the Boys and Girls Club. And I didn't even have a clown name, but I had all sorts of weird outfits and makeup, and I was able to do it. So we arrived at the gig, and the name Honey the Clown came to me because I was thinking of bees and how important bees are, and bees make honey, so it's like their nectar, and that's how she got her name. And so she came to life and took on a life of her own, and her life helped coming into being helped my life in my journey and struggle. Honey the Clown, she's funny. She and one of the things, she's actually been coming out again recently. I think she got scared by the trip to New York. I had an interview here for a clown job, and they were all very particular about being able to make balloon animals and these very specific skills I was supposed to have. And really my skill is to be able to show up and work with the moment and be weird. And
that's awesome.
So
though.
it just like, I don't really have a menu of services. I make, as far as balloon animals go, I make the worm and the snake.
Yeah.
And the sword with a long balloon, but I'm really not skilled, and I don't want to malign anybody who has those awesome skills. I think they're really cool, but I have other things that I do. But Honey the Clown had a funny experience actually in Olympia. I think this is one of our most interesting moments, was that Jespy and I were downtown in a park at a parade, and one of the competitors for the position of mayor or city council was there. Somebody who has a little bit of a bad reputation, and we were kind of clowning around him. And then the opposing candidate, who was actually the candidate who we were rooting for, had a picture of us with this guy making fun of him and used it somewhere. And then people published a flyer against our candidate saying that he hangs out with disreputable people. And actually what happened as a result of this flyer maligning him is he got a lot more popularity because he hangs out with fun people. And he ended up winning the candidacy. So I don't want to embarrass him. I even talked to him once when I was kind of feeling a little clowny, and I'm like, I'll put your campaign sign on my lawn, and I'll put magical oils on it. And he's like, you do whatever you want. And we got him elected, which is
so
how
fun.
clowns can change political environments, which has always been an interest of mine, is like, how do clowns transform reality and make it more fun?
Yes.
Because people, when they are not having fun, when they are sad, when they are fear-driven, they don't really make decisions that are for the best of themselves or for others.
Absolutely, yes.
And we're seeing the results now of fear-driven sort of mentality in many, many places. And gosh, even, now I have this interesting career as a mental health professional that has resulted from all of this struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And I see people come in, and I mean, we are not immune. When we work with patients, sometimes after a long day, we're going, oh, I feel a little traumatized. Oh, I just want to go curl up. I don't have energy to do things anymore. And so I think clowns, if you're given the gift of being able to become a clown, and it's both a gift and it is a responsibility, you have to realize that you're working with that energy.
Yes.
And so that's a passion of mine, is how do you work with energy? And working with art is working with energy. It's in an amazing, amazing way. You don't, if you make a piece of art about something that happened in your life, you don't have to talk about it. You're not engaging the part of your brain that is going to freak out because you told this story that was so scary and it's still following you around like a hungry dog.
Yeah.
So that's part of making art. And when I looked at your blog briefly, it was so neat to see people with their stories of what they're making.
Yeah.
What are they making out of these things?
Yeah. So, where are some other places that, like, I don't know, I guess you felt you made a difference with clowning or your art or?
I made it different, that's for sure. I don't know if I made a difference. Boy, that was different. You never know.
Well, sometimes that's good. It wakes people up.
Well, gosh, another moment which was really funny, and this was not my idea. I want to give a lot of, credit to young activists in Olympia who dreamed this up. We actually they were cutting general assistance to a bunch of the most vulnerable children and adults with developmental disabilities in Washington. So they were basically losing their welfare benefits.
Yeah.
So we decided to all dress as zombies and go to the state capitol looking for hearts and brains, because these things are required of legislators. And they've been woefully missing. Zombies are going starving because if they go to the state legislature, they're not finding these things that they need to survive. So we went, and I had this great suit that my friend Chuck gave me. It was like a pinstripe suit, like an Yves Saint Laurent suit that he found at a thrift store. It looked really sharp. But then I had my zombie makeup on. But someone noticed from the Senate Ways and Means Committee that I was pretty sharp dresser, So they wanted to talk to me and actually talk to him about why I was there. And at that point I was in, pre-foreclosure, getting ready to declare bankruptcy. All sorts of stuff was going on. But I was just like, yes, sir, I'm a zombie lobbyist. You don't see much of our kind because they hide out because they're usually gnawing on an arm or a leg. But they're out there, don't you? There are zombie lobbyists. And he was laughing his ass off and introducing me to people. But the thing is that type of thing really does send a message. When people's behavior, people forget about their behavior. They forget about. And clowns remind you because they're like an amplified mirror of emotions. We're getting towards a place where we're not allowed to feel ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's a little scary.
Yes.
I mean, mental health, as I see it when I work in mental health, it's not about saying, oh, you can't feel your feelings, oh, calm down. Although we do get people who are really oh my gosh, anxiety is running the show. Perceptions and hallucinations are running the show, not in their best interest. But these are just feelings rallying up to the surface. Sometimes feelings that have been denied for a really long time from people who've been in double binds. I was in a double bind because I had health issues and I was going to lose my place to live, which is survival. Yeah. I mean, people don't quite get that who haven't experienced real homelessness, is that you don't have a place to live. It affects your body. It affects your nervous system profoundly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fear, shame, and rage. Those three, they're really tough to deal with. And you can say all you want about, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But when you're in that state, you might not be able to think well enough to do that.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm a real housing first type of gal.
Yeah.
Even if you're weird, even if you're painting the walls with your finger paint, got to create a context for that.
Yeah.
So that people can be. I mean, in the Northwest culture, in the Native culture, clowns were to be feared but protected. This was something that they believed is the clowns were somewhat messy, but they were also really, really important, and people would protect them. And up there, when unfortunately missionaries started coming in and telling people that their culture was evil and incorrect and they needed to be rehabilitated somehow from being themselves. And the Native folks still continue to protect the clowns, even in that context, and kind of hide them away. And we need to bring the clowns out. It's interesting, now with all these movies, clowns are coming out, but they're coming out in this really interesting way.
Yeah.
Which isn't to say that that's not appropriate for this time. Because there is a really deeply scary part of ourselves, too, right now.
Absolutely.
It's coming out. So I'm going to look at the camera a little bit and just going to stare like a clown. Well, actually, I'll bring a little laugh out
Awesome.
to prove that I'm legit.
Oh, awesome. Actually, what I'm interested in too is that I before I met you, I actually didn't even know that there was like clowns in Native culture.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious if you could elaborate on that and just like, is there like big differences between what like we know and I guess as like modern society clowns versus Native clowns?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think there was some cross-pollination because of the early circus culture, the nature of it traveling around the country, which is very interesting. I can't say I can claim to speak for individual tribal groups because I would say talk to anyone native, depending on where they're from, there's probably totally different practices that are specific to a certain area for clowns. And I don't feel like I could say what I've learned about in the Northwest. I think that story is for other people to tell through experience and maybe, non-verbally. But I was really touched in my heart by a clown who was a storyteller named Johnny Moses. And that really changed so much for me. I can hardly describe what it changed. It's really amazing. Because just being around him, like every time I would see him, I could hear laughter before he even came into the room. And it was really a help and an encouragement and a strength to be in that presence. And meeting, like my partner actually had the experience growing up of seeing Emmett Kelly. And I think that was really special to him. This is something that really, changed his world. And he feels like a clown too, so it's so comfortable for two clowns to live together. And sometimes very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I just think there, in the Southwest, you have the tradition of striped clowns and mud clowns. And my friend Justby, the clown who I first worked with, his relatives are from Indonesia. So he loves shadow puppets, and he loves the fierce faces of his ancestral deities and spirits as part of his work. But he's very much an American clown. He's a pie-in-the-face clown.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you want to like share with us, or like anything that you want to tell the audience?
Well, I just want to encourage everybody. Everybody who's an artist, everyone who struggles with autoimmune disease, people who might be feeling sad or depressed about the outer, appearances of where our culture is headed. I just want to, from my heart, really encourage you to look to your own creativity, to turn inward to what your strengths are, because everybody has a seed of that strength. And I'm being very serious. Just want to, bust it up. I don't know if you noticed this, but I have.
What is this guy?
This was given to me as a gift at someone's birthday party. It's white glitter slime, and I think it might be getting kind of gross. I'm seeing a lot of, but you hear the sounds? I wish that the microphone could hear the sounds of this white glitter slime, but I just thought I would get it out. Just so that, you can see it. It's almost like little slippery angel wings. Oh, let's put it back in there. Oh, my hands are so gross. This is why I have this here, this towel, because I knew something would happen. I wasn't planning to have to put the slime off. But yeah, find ways to have fun every day, especially if you're in foreclosure, because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. My theory of existence at that time was I was just feeling so sick, I didn't know what to address first. And so I just took it day by day and realized that the journey would show me the way out. And I would deal with healers, some of them really nice, some of them really weird, and I would just look for signs on how, what was supposed to be and what was a gatekeeper for the next stage.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you so much for being on Smell the Damn Roses.
Oh, thank you for smelling the damn roses. Oh, my hands smell weird from that slime. See ya. Take care.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you and bye.
So the thing that to do then is to do things that are fun, that are uplifting, that will cheer you up.